Hello, welcome you all. So today we'll see how to compute the quadratic equation for the given coefficient values. So before we proceed with the program, first we should understand what exactly is a quadratic equation. So quadratic equation can be given as ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So here a, b and c are the coefficient values. Okay. So whenever we say quadratic equation, the roots are referred normally. So root means the values of x which satisfies the equation. So if I take x as some value and if it evaluates to 0, so I can say the quadratic equation is evaluated. So if the equation is quadratic, then there is a possibility of two roots. Okay. Depends on the equation. Discriminant is equal to b square minus 4ac. So there are two possible roots by applying this particular expression. So to take the roots, we use the formula x is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2 into a. So when we apply the formula, we may get two different roots based on the discriminant values. So when I perform or when I try to take the discriminant by the formula b square minus 4ac, the possibilities are three discriminant values. If d, that is discriminant value, is 0, then I can say the roots are equal, or you can say equal roots. If the discriminant value is less than 0, then we can say it is imaginary roots. And if it greater than 0, so I can say root are distinct. Okay. So now we'll see how we can implement this program by applying this formula. Now we'll see how we can implement the quadratic equation in terms of C program. So first we'll start writing the hash include stdio.h followed by hash include math.h. So that is required to include a mathematical function. So the mathematical function we are using in our program is square root. Okay, as we have already seen in the formula, we require to use square root. Followed by void main, open the flower bracket. Now we are going to declare the variables. So we are going to declare a variable for three different coefficients. So I am referring all as float. So I am taken three different coefficient values a, b, c as float. Then I am taking root 1 and root 2. As I already told, when we are performing the quadratic equation, there is a possibility of two different roots. To hold the root value, I have taken root 1, root 2 are the two different variables. Okay. Then to calculate the discriminant value, I have taken a variable disc, followed by to hold the real and imaginary values, we have taken real and imaginary variables. So initially in the program, we are going to enter the coefficient values. So we are using a scanf statement with three coefficient values. All of them are of float type. So the coefficient values are a, b and c. So I am going to read a, b and c. So once it is read, so what I am doing, I am going to check whether the coefficient values are 0. So the entered values are 0. So I am implementing a conditional statement, if condition, to check whether the first coefficient value and the second coefficient values are zeros. So I am checking this by giving if a is equal to 0 and b is equal to 0. So if a is equal to 0 and if b is equal to 0, then it is going to print invalid coefficients, and it is going to print a message, try again with the valid inputs. So that finishes the first part of the program, which evaluates whether the coefficients are valid or not. Okay. Next we'll go for the next concept.
Yeah. So we'll go to the next concept, wherein we are going to enter the coefficient values. For that entered values, we are going to check the condition whether a is equal to 0. So in the else part, we are checking if a is equal to 0. If any one coefficient value, that is the first coefficient value, is 0, then we are going to print it as a linear equation. We are going to give a message as a linear equation, and we are going to printf a new line, and we are going to stop the process.
Yeah, in this section, that is, if the coefficient values are valued or it is a valid value, then we are going to find the discriminant value by applying a formula, disk is equal to b square minus 4ac. So which we have given it in the terms of variables. Disk is equal to b into b minus 4 into a into c. So using this formula, we are going to calculate the discriminant value. So the discriminant value is calculated, and we are checking what is the value we have got from this disk variable. So we are again checking a condition here. We have used if condition. So it is going to check if discriminant value is equal to 0. So if the value is 0, then we are going to print a message, printf, roots are real and equal. And at the same time, we are going to calculate the two different root values by using a formula. Root 1 is equal to minus b by 2 into a. As I already told, when the discriminant value is 0, both the roots are equal. So if root 1 we are going to get some value, the root 2 also will be having the same value. So need not calculate the root 2 again, but if you want instead to calculate, you can use the same formula. Root 2 is equal to minus b by 2 into a. So we will get both the roots, and we are going to print root 1 and root 2 appropriately. Okay. So this evaluates, or this checks when the discriminant value is 0. So when the discriminant value is 0, so we can say that roots are real and equal, and it is going to calculate based upon the given formula. Now we will proceed to the next section. Yeah. So in this section, as if the condition is false, so in the previous part we have checked whether discriminant value is equal to 0, then it is going to say that roots are real and equal, and it is going to calculate as per the formula, and it is going to display the root 1 and root 2. Now here, if the condition, the previous condition is false, the discriminant value is greater than 0, then it is going to print the message as roots are real and distinct, and it is going to calculate the root 1 is equal to minus b plus square root of discriminant value divided by 2 into a. Similarly, it is going to calculate the root 2 is equal to minus b minus square root of discriminant value divided by 2 into a. So this way it is going to find the value of root 1 and root 2, and it is going to print the root 1 and root 2 values. For example, if the discriminant value is not greater than 0, probably it is less than 0, then it is going to go to the else part, and there it is going to print the message as roots are real and imaginary. So here it is going to calculate the real value by using a formula. Real is equal to minus b by 2 into a. The same way it calculates the imaginary value. Image is equal to square root of minus of discriminant divided by 2 into a. Then we are going to print the values of root 1, root 2 and real and imaginary parts. Okay. So this finishes the program.
Yeah, we'll see some examples and we'll just try to analyze this program by taking some examples. So first we'll take three coefficient values, that is 0, 0 and 2. So when we enter 0, 0 and 2, so A represents 0, B represents 0, C represents 2. So we read the values. Once we read, we are going to check whether A is equal to 0 and whether B is equal to 0. If both are zeros, then we are going to print a message as invalid coefficients. At the same time, we are giving one more message, try again with valid inputs, and we are going to end the process by giving a new line. So that will go to the end of the program. Next, again we are going to try by taking another three values. I'll take the three values as 0, 2 and 3. Okay, so 0 for A, 2 for B and 3 for C. So when I enter 0, 2 and 3, it first checks whether if A is equal to B 0 and B is equal to 0. So this condition goes wrong or it is false. It goes to the next part and checks whether A is equal to 0. So in this case, the first value is 0. So it displays a message as linear equation and it will give a new line and it will go to the end of the program. Okay. Now we'll take one more example wherein we are going to enter the coefficient values as 1, 2 and 1. Okay. So first again the same thing, the values are read. It will check whether A is equal to 0 and B is equal to 0. So it is not. So this condition goes wrong. Next it goes to else part. So it will check whether A is equal to 0. So even that is false. Then it goes to the else part of that if, and it calculates the discriminant value by applying a formula B into B minus 4 into AC. So after getting the discriminant value, based on the discriminant value, it is going to categorize three things: whether the discriminant value is 0, whether it is greater than 0 or whether it is less than 0. So in this case I am going to get the value as 0. So when I get the value as 0, what it will do? It will go to the first condition. If discriminant is 0, so it is going to print the message as roots are real and equal, and it is going to calculate root 1 is equal to minus B, that is minus 2 in this case, by 2 into 1. So we are going to get as 1. Okay. So same thing is applicable to root 2 also, because as here the roots are real and equal. Next we'll take one more example and we'll enter the coefficient values 2, 5 and 2. Okay. So again the same thing, it starts with the initial process. It checks for the first condition whether A is equal to 0 and B is equal to 0. No, this is wrong, condition is false. It goes to the next condition, else of it. If A is equal to 0, that is also false. It goes to the else of that if, and it is going to calculate the discriminant value based on the given values. So based on the discriminant value what you are getting, it is going to go to that respective condition. So in this case the discriminant value is greater than 0 and it is going to print the roots are real and distinct. Okay. And it is going to calculate the roots. Root 1 is equal to minus B plus square root of discriminant value divided by 2 into A. Similarly, it is going to calculate the root 2 value by the formula minus B minus square root of discriminant value divided by 2 into A. So that we are going to get the value as shown in the output, that is 0.5 and 2.0. Yeah, now we'll take for the one more output, we'll enter the coefficient values 2.3, 4 and 5.6. So again we'll start with the beginning. we'll check whether A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0, the condition is false. Then we are checking whether A is equal to 0, that is also false. Then we are going to else part, again we are going to calculate the discriminant value. Then we are checking whether discriminant value is 0 or whether it is greater than or whether it is less than. So in this case the discriminant value is less than 0, so it is going to print the rules are real and imaginary, and it is going to calculate the real value and the imaginary value, and it is going to print the value as calculated.
So the next program here is to write a program to find the factorial of a number. Now sample example what I have taken here is 4 factorial. So 4 factorial is represented as 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, that is 24. It can also be represented as 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, that's equal to 24. Now each step what you are performing here is just multiplication. Multiplication is the task what we are going to perform in each steps. Now we'll just see each step here clearly mentioned in the slide. Step 1. Now 1, I'll start with 1 into 1. So what's the result? That is 1. In next step again 1 into 2, that is equal to 2. Next 2 into 3, that's equal to 6. In step 4 it is 6 into 4, that's equal to 24. That's what is 4 factorial what we have to find out. Now if you see the steps over here in the LHS, what we are performing is the multiplication. Task is multiplication. And if you see here, the first operand in each step is actually the result of the previous step. So in step 1, I started with 1 into 1, so that's equal to 1. In step 2, next is 1 into 2, that's equal to 2, whereas in the step 2, the first operand here is the result of the previous step. Similarly, in step 3, the first operand is the result of previous step. In step 4, the first operand is the result of previous step. And if you see, the second operand on the LHS is starts from 1 and goes on incrementing by 1, 1, 2, 3 till 4, because 4 factorial we have taken example, so it goes up till 4. Now we have to identify the relationship between each step. In each step, the second operand goes on incrementing by 1, and the first operand is always the result of the previous step. Now that's why I need an index, or I need a variable to store the second operand, and I need a variable to store the intermediate results. Now I have taken here I as an example variable to store the second operand. So I starts from 1 and it will go up till 4, because we have taken 4 factorial. If you take any other number, till that number I goes on increasing. Then I have made use of fact here. Fact is the variable to store the intermediate result. I'll start it at 1, because the first step what I mentioned there, 1 into 1, that is equal to 1. That is the first step result. So directly the result I am storing it in fact, so that I can directly start from the step. So that I can directly start from the step 1 here, fact equal to 1. Now I have shown the iterations here. Now first iteration, fact I have taken as 1 and I will be equal to 1. So fact equal to fact into I have mentioned now. So that will be equal to what? 1 into 1, that's equal to 1. Then I will be incremented by 1. So next again second iteration starts. Second iteration it should be 1 into 2. 1 is the previous step value that is stored in fact into the new value I is incremented by 1. So 1 into 2, the result is 2. So like this it continues up to fourth iteration, that is because 6 into 4 equal to 24. I had given the taken the example as 4 factorial, so I can go maximum up to 4. This is how I have built a general formulation for the factorial of a number. Now these steps I can write it in a body of the loop, and the same steps I can repeat it from I equal to 1 to 4, or 4 times I have to just repeat it. Okay, we'll see the example in the next slide. We'll see the program. So now in the program here, I have taken I to represent the index, n to accept the value from the user, that is a number for which the factorial has to be found out. Then to store the intermediate results, each step result, I made use of fact. I have initialized it to 1. Now enter an integer, that is to indicate to the user to enter a value. Now in this example I have taken it as 4. Now user enters a value 4 that is stored in variable n. Now I have made use of a for loop to perform the tasks. Now first, for I equal to 1, as we have seen in the previous slide itself, the second operand starts from 1 and it moves up till the n value, that is the number which the user has given. So I is initialized to 1. Then it will check the condition whether I is less than or equal to n. I is 1, so 1 is less than or equal to n. N I have given it as 4. So I is less than or equal to 4 is true, so it will come inside the loop, and now it will execute the statement fact equal to fact into I. Fact I have initialized to 1, so 1 into 1, the result is 1. That will be stored in fact. Now it will go back to the loop, for loop statement, and now it will go to the updation part, that is I plus plus. I was 1, I will be incremented by 1, so I becomes 2. So 2 is, now it will check whether 2 is less than or equal to 4. True. So again it will come inside the loop, and fact equal to fact into I. So fact value was updated to 1, so 1 into 2, so the result is 2. That will be stored in fact. That is what is shown in iterations over there. First iteration, second iteration, third iteration, fourth iteration. After the fourth iteration is done, then I is updated by 1, I becomes 5. Now it will check the condition, 5 is less than or equal to 4. So condition becomes false, so it will come out and it will print the output as if the percentage d factorial is percentage d slash t, that is n comma fact. So the 4 factorial is 24. Now we'll see the program to check whether a given number is palindrome or not. So here we'll accept the number and store it in a variable, then reverse the number and store it in another variable, and then compare the original number with the reversed number. If both are same, then the input number is palindrome. Now here int I have declared, here 4 variables are used. First one num, this integer type, used to accept the input from the user. Yum, another temporary variable I have taken, because since I will be dividing the input number by 10 in each step to extract each digit from that, so the value stored in number will change, or the value, original value stored in num will change. That's why I need a temporary variable here to store the original number. Next I have made use of another variable reverse, okay, rev, and I have initialized it to 0. This is used to store the number in reverse order. Then I have made use of digit here to extract each digit from the input number and in each iteration. So I have made use of this variable digit. Next, enter an integer. So user will enter an integer that will be stored in variable num. Now before I am going to extract each digit from the number, I will store the original number in variable yum. So yum equal to num. So whatever original number user has input, that will be stored in yum. Next I have made use of the while loop. Now I have shown the iterations there. The input I have taken here example is 1 1 1. Now what happens in the first iteration? Now that value 1 1 1 is stored in num, that is again copied to yum. Now we'll come to the while loop. So while num is not equal to 0. So now num is 1 1 1 and reverse have initialized it to 0. First it will check whether num is not equal to 0. Now obviously 111 is not equal to 0, it is true, so the control will go inside the while loop. Now I have to extract the last digit from the given input. So last digit we can extract each digit by performing modular division by 10. So digit equal to num mod 10. So num mod 10 is here, 111 mod 10, the result is 1. So that is the last digit and that will be stored in digit. Now I have to store it in reverse. So reverse equal to reverse into 10 plus digit. Now because each time extracting the digit, so I obtain the digit by performing mod operation, so that is why I am multiplying it with reverse with the 10 and then adding the digit. So reverse is 0, so 0 into 10 will be 0 plus digit what I extracted now is 1, so reverse will have 1, that is the first digit. Then now I need to obtain the remaining number. So num equal to num divided by 10, that will yield me the first two digits. So num equal to num mod num divided by 10, that is 111 divided by 10, that is 11. Now the control will again come back to the while part, while num is not equal to 0. Now the new value of num is 11. So 11 is not equal to 0. So control will enter the body of the loop. Now digit equal to num mod 10. So out of now I have 11. Now to extract the last number again. So 11 mod 10 will give the result as 1. So that again I will have to store it in the variable reverse. So reverse into 10, reverse is already having the last digit extracted in the previous iteration. So 1 into 10, so that is 10 plus 1, that will give me 11. Now the last two digits I have extracted and put it in reverse. Now again I have to extract the remaining number. So num divided by 10. So 11 divided by 10 will give me the first digit, that is 1. So 1 is stored in num. Now again the while control will come back to the while loop. Now while num is not equal to 0. Now num is 1, 1 is not equal to 0 is true. So again the control will come inside the body of the loop. Digit equal to num mod 10, again 1 mod 10 will, the result will be 1. That is the first digit. Now that I will have to now store it in reverse. So reverse into 10, reverse is already having 11, 11 into 10, that is 110 plus digit is 1. Now 110 plus 1, that is 111. That is the original number now that is stored in reverse. Now num equal to num mod 10. Now again 1 mod 10, that will obviously written as 0. So the control will again come to the while part. This time 0, num is 0, so 0 not equal to 0 is false, so control will come out. Now I have to show the number in reverse order, so I am just displaying the printf statement there. Reverse of given number is that I have stored in reverse. So the both things, the original number and the reverse number, I am displaying there. Now I have to display whether it is palindrome or not. So I have already stored the original number in m, so I'll compare it with reverse. If both are same, that means it is palindrome. If reverse is equal to m, in our this example 111, it is, even if you reverse it, it is same. So reverse is equal to m is true, so it will display it as palindrome. If not, it will display it as not palindrome. You try with other input and check whether you are getting not palindrome case or not.